Famous English writer and philosopher John Ruskin once said, "Quality is never an accident. It is always a result of intelligent effort." Along those same lines, my favorite IT professor in college once said, "Breaking shit is how you learn." In that same spirit, we're going to help improve the quality of Ubuntu by trying to break it. First, a little important context. New versions of Ubuntu are released every 6 months, often with a score of improvements and changes. While the developers try their hardest to squash all the bugs, some can still slip through the cracks. That's where testers come to the rescue. Testing is fun and easy. You don't need to be a Linux expert to take part in the process. You just need a computer and some free time. So let's get testing. First things first, we need a Launchpad account. Launchpad is Ubuntu and some of its derivatives' go-to platform for software development, issue tracking, and translation management. So if you don't already have an account, just hop on over to launchpad.net and register for one. Once you have your Launchpad account, you can head on over to the Ubuntu ISO Tracker at iso.qa.ubuntu.com. The ISO Tracker allows Ubuntu developers and community testers to come together to evaluate and report issues for Ubuntu releases. Now on the front page of the tracker, you can click the Login button on the left pane and sign in with your Launchpad account. Next, we need to determine which testing event or milestone we want to try out. You'll see farther down on the front page there's a list of Ubuntu releases, grouped by their code names, with the latest version being up at the top. For today's video, we're going to be testing out an upcoming Ubuntu release, version 2304, codenamed Lunar Lobster. So, if you're watching this video in the future, you may be testing out a different release. Once you've selected your milestone, you'll be taken to the build list. Here you're presented with various Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavor builds of varying architecture that you can choose from. So for your typical PC, builds ending in AMD 64 are the way to go. If you have a Raspberry Pi or similar ARM-based device, you want to go with an ARM option. For this video, we're going to check out the Ubuntu Desktop AMD 64 build. For the Lunar Lobster release, we actually have two options to choose from: the regular build, which has the spiffy new desktop installer built on Ubiquity and Flutter, and the legacy build using the classic Ubuntu installer. Once you've chosen your preferred build, you'll be presented with a list of test cases. A test case is simply a set of instructions for you to follow. Click here, run this command, that sort of thing. You'll see test cases are labeled as mandatory, tests you need to follow, run once, a test you only need to perform one time, and optional, tests that you can choose whether or not you want to perform. At the bottom of each test case, you'll see an area to report your results, along with the list of reported bugs that you should be on the lookout for. But before we can actually follow these steps, we need to download our test image. At the top of each test case list, you'll see a link to download the ISO image for this particular build. Follow that link and download your image. So you've got your image, and the last decision you need to make is what to run it on. Are you going to test directly on hardware or on a virtual machine? Installing directly onto hardware has some additional perks, as it may help in identifying any hardware-specific bugs that may exist in this particular build. Installing on a virtual machine using a hypervisor like VirtualBox or KVM is also a perfectly valid option. Once you've made your choice and you've got your Ubuntu test image booting up, you can officially start your testing. You can go through as many builds and test cases as you want, so try different configurations and test different hardware. And if you do experience a bug while testing, be sure to report them in the results. That's it. You are now officially a QA master, or at the very least an Ubuntu contributor, which is awesome. Your effort makes Ubuntu and the entire open source community a better place to be. Be sure to check out the links in the description for some helpful testing resources to take your QA game to the next level. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and happy testing.